So 3, I wonder if you even get enough a month. Right? 3, 6, 9, and then the lovely 12, 13, 14. Outside of events. Hot garbage.
3 hours later.
What is going on, guys? I know you guys are probably tired of me bitching and whining all up the place, but this is a brand new dev note, and it literally came after my stream, which is kind of funny. I was complaining about the enhancing ability. Actually, let me... Hi. I have a shirt on this time. I just did 2 KC videos without cam. But what's going on, guys? Again, I can't keep saying it, right? So they just dropped a new dev note, and of course, you know, I gotta be out there and I gotta say, you know, what I think about the dev note. We just did the update, but all this stuff in this was not in the update. So I really wish I could have just done that one video at a time. But you know, what are we gonna do? We gotta cover the news. I want to be like a covering stuff, giving out guides. I want to start actually doing gameplay stuff, but they keep dropping news, so I got to do the news. I hope you guys understand. I'm not trying to spam or this is only for viewerships. Like, 1, yeah, but 2, I want to be the guy that stays on top of this stuff, regardless of how busy I am. I want to be the one that you guys go to. I want to be the one. So first thing up first, we're going to talk about the raid type labyrinth. That is the first thing that they decided to talk about. It is going to be a new labyrinth system that they're going to be adding into the game, and I'm interested to see it. They show you a couple of the characters. I'm not going to like super go into all this stuff like that, except the Queen Bizzle's in the building, right? But they do want you to know that you have to kill all the bosses to get all the rewards. That is a cool thing about this. And it's going to work differently. See, players will only have opportunity each week to hunt the raid bosses. It's crazy because a lot of the stuff that I've been talking and complaining about is right smack dab in this stuff, man. Which makes me feel good that not only I'm not the only one complaining, but the stuff that I'm complaining about resonates with what the devs think is wrong with their game as well. So it's not like I'm complaining blindly. So let me read some other stuff here. The raid bosses descriptions, regeneration and conditions, and item drop tables will be compiled into a boss journal. That's great. And supported by additional functions to be made available for the player to confirm before entering the raid labyrinth. Pretty much they don't want you to go in there and die. Like, oh, you didn't know that? Well, you should have read. So this is pretty cool. It's really nice that they're gonna be able to more content. More content is always a good thing. And I guess these are all the bosses. She looks like she's the main boss, but you only get all the rewards obviously once you finish the entire thing. And like I said, each week you'll be able to hunt certain bosses. Dope. Really, really good stuff here. Let's see. Oh, and look, the capital of will be divided into normal difficulty and hell difficulty. Hell difficulty is planned to be added in update 2 weeks after normal difficulty is released. That is another important thing to note. This new raid labyrinth is expected to be the most challenging PvE content in Epic 7. So they trying to let you know, do not come in with that bullshit. This is probably something for the late game players to do. This is probably going to be all your characters have to be max that go in there, which that's good because right now there are people. Not only could I probably, if I was focusing more on it, not grinding just to grind, if I was just trying to beat the story, then I would be up to this point as well. You know, all characters 60, maxed out with decent runes. That's probably where a lot of people already are. Despite me complaining about it, most people are probably already at that point where they're pretty much have everything that they kind of want, just trying to strive for stuff that they want better. And this is a great thing. Second thing we're going to discuss here is this. Now, as much as I hate dual attack sometimes in the game, because obviously sometimes you just straight out lose to it. It's like you get a guard breaker, a defense breaker that combos into the nuker, the single target nuker, and it's like, wow, that was fair. But I did want to do some dual attack stuff, so it's cool to see that they're actually introducing new equipment sets. One being the Unity set, which is increased dual attack chance. We don't know how much, and we also don't know if that is a 2-piece or a 4-piece set. And I'm pretty sure they're not doing 1-piece sets. I don't think that they'll ever do that. I don't think any of these games have ever dared to do that, really. Immunity set, which is going to grant immunity for self for 1 turn. This is actually real late game arena stuff where you want, obviously this is not something you put into story mode unless there's a boss that literally debuffs you as soon as she comes in. But what this is for usually is usually a 2-piece set. And actually I think that the colors actually let you know whether or not it's gonna stay or not. Let me just reference that, see if I can see the similarity there, because I know this is blue and this is red. Let me just look in the game for like 2 seconds and I'll be able to tell that. All right, just here in the game. So yeah, these are red, and as I go to Destina, yeah, these are blue. So they just seem that the colors just seem to depict if it's offensive or defensive. I never really looked at that. I don't know if you guys knew that, so I just thought that I'd share that just in case, because I was trying to see if it let us know if it's a 2-piece set or a 4-piece set, but there's really nothing to see there. So let's just go back to the badge. All right, so, and this is the last one. This is going to be the rage set. Increases damage dealt if the target has a debuff. Now that's obviously good because there's a lot. Debuff is like any debuff, so just as long as they're doing something, which is cool. For follow-up characters, like Soren puts a lot of debuffs on the character, but I still don't know if you'd want that. If it's a 2-piece set, then yes, it's fine. And but then again, it'd be kind of crazy because then maybe you can run 3 of them and then you're doing a lot extra damage. We'll see. You'll see. It definitely depends. Let's read what it says under here. You can obtain these new sets from the normal difficulty. So these are only from the labyrinth. Later on, we will plan to make farming smoother by making it possible to attain these new sets in the challenge mode. Increase your character's tactics with these new set equipments. So that's cool. Next thing, which is something surprising that they're not only admitting but also willing to fix, is the 4 to 5-star stat increases. They're saying pretty much that the 3 stars in the game, and a lot of people are like, you could do everything with 3 stars, which I thought was personally a good thing, but they're saying that the stats from the 4 to the 5 to the 3 are actually too close. So they're changing that dramatically by increasing pretty much all stats, HP, defense, and speed. On 4 stars are going to go up 3%, and the 5 stars are going to go up 6%. So Sid is getting faster, but like all these other characters are going to become a lot better. I guess people were complaining about their 4 or 5 stars, maybe. I guess I don't know. I don't really understand where this came from, but they knew what the stats were. I always thought that certain characters had higher or better stats depending on what they were. So like Vildred would have better stats of other attackers, but you know, maybe he'll have better speed. He'll be the fastest speed unit, but like I guess maybe there were 3 stars that were faster than like maybe a 3rd or 4th star, or attackers that were out damaging. And we'll see more of nerfs in below because they definitely are targeting the 3-star units in a lot of these balancing stuff, which is very interesting. That usually it's like usually you just buff the 4 or 5 stars, right? You leave the 3 stars alone, let them be strong, and then you buff, like how this one you buffed it. But they also are going to nerf some of the 3 stars as well. Skill rebalancing, which was the whole joke in the beginning, is that it was funny that we calculated that you get 3 Molagoras through shopping, and there's you get three, so that's 3 a week, and then you go through each week saying that it's 4 weeks, so that's 12, and then there's 2 that you get in a month. So that was very low because when we did the math, that it will take you with that format. It will take you about 3 months. If you guys didn't know that, it would take you like 2 to 3 months to max out one skill of a 5-star unit. That's ridiculous, man. And then on top of that, you have to do the catalyst, the epic catalyst, to get like usually the last one. Because I was trying to get Bloodblade Karen. I wanted to max her 3rd skill just to have the most optimal DPS of her possible. And it was just like, damn, that's what I have to do. I gotta get 4 of these to turn it into that, and then get 4 of that to turn it into that. And only the Labyrinth guy comes up every once in a while. Meanwhile, the guy that comes guaranteed is the guy that needs 5 of them, and then you have to do all that math by like 5. And if you're only getting 14 a month, then I mean, obviously, like I said, outside of events, that's a lot of stuff that you'll need, because if you guys do the math, it's a lot. And I was kind of upset, I'm not gonna lie, because and then I realized, I speculated that it's probably better to just spread all your characters out, give it to everybody, and not just focus on like one unit, which usually you want one unit to be strong, because that's how you get all your other characters up by having one strong unit. So what they're saying here is that they acknowledge that, but not only that, they're talking about the 3-star characters being way too strong, and the fact also what attributed to that is the fact that the 3-star characters had a lower requirement for their Molagora stuff. So they're gonna bring it back. Still look like it's gonna still gonna hurt a little bit, but I'm interested to know what the new numbers are gonna be. I did think that they necessarily didn't have to do this, but maybe just gave you more Molagoras. But then again, I also thought about, then it would kind of be harsh if, people did still decide to level up multiple characters. Now everyone has like +3, +4, but again, that wouldn't be too bad. And as such, we have significantly reduced the amount of Molagora required to enhance the skills of high-level heroes. After the update, we will compensate players via the mailbox for any Molagoras already used to enhance hero skills that are in excess of the new cost. Awesome. So whatever I invested into my Karen or any 4 or 5-star unit, you'll get that back. So I don't know. I actually think, if I'm thinking with my big brain, let me know in the comment section below. I always like to ask a question. Would it actually be smart to then purposefully, right now before the update, before this dev note affects it, to just purposely do that? You'll get the skill, and then you'll get the refunds of it anyway. You'll get like the excess of it anyway, or is it better to just to wait? I know sometimes, and I feel like it's the same exact thing, because they'll just give you the excess anyway. But I know in League of Legends, when they changed their system over, it was actually better to utilize the old system. And then when they switch it to the new system, you benefit from it. But it seems like it's going to be the same thing, but my mathematical brain is not like working right now. So if there is a difference, let me know in the comment section below. Combat and character balance. Now here it is. We're talking about, the first thing they bring up is the defense buff. It's going down. They're definitely, the defense buff, like I said, I think that people needed to use more strippers in the game. I don't think that the game necessarily needed the defense buff. If it was too high, it was too high. The people said it was like a 70% buff, and usually the offensive buffs, the positive buffs are usually, or in the negative buffs are usually half. So it's like 50% buff, attack, defense, speed decrease, whatever. All that's usually 50. But apparently the defense buff was 70 because they probably thought the content was going to be really hard and they needed to make sure that people could survive it. But people were just using an arena and it became annoying. It's not like you couldn't kill the character, it would just take so long, and then you had healers, and then you had the Raiden. I call it Raiden from Mortal Kombat when he keeps shocking you and shit like that. So yeah, they're gonna be lowering that. So that's one thing that they're doing. And they also are mentioning here that there will be characters facing improvements. So these characters are getting a legitimate buff. This is not like speculation. It's gonna be Dingo, regular Coley, You Fine. I know some people love it or hate it when I say it, like Bal and Sezin. Now my concern for this specifically is because I felt like all these characters were actually kind of good. I found You Fine pretty good. Collie, I would say the only one I think was kind of ass, like kind of mediocre. Dingo was pretty good. He was a soul burn character. Like he pretty much got soul burn for you, and his stuff reset. I think they can work on his S1 and his S2. to make it like a little bit better, but I'm curious to what they're gonna do and change him about him. Yufine I found was pretty okay. I liked her kit. I liked that, you know, she was about buffs and buff removal and stuff like that. And Baal and Sezin also. I think that their kit was completely fine. If anything, they'll just need to heighten the defense break on the AoE defense break that they were bringing. But I think their speed was also low, but we'll see what they want to do with those characters. But more importantly, the downgrade of Tierra, Elson, Ricarus, Church of the God Axe is what they call it, right? And the artifact, which Sachet in Thanes is the one that when every time someone dies, everyone gets 15, which is really weird for a ranger specifically to have that, but whatever. So they're probably just gonna lower the number, duh, or they'll lower the amount that I don't know. I actually thought that the requirement to use the sachet actually made it fair. It only happens when someone dies, and yes, everyone gets 15, but it's only when there's a death. And in PvE, it makes it really good because you'll be killing a lot of things and getting more bar. So I thought it was a nice PvE item for us as well, but we'll see what they'll do with that. But Tierra, I think, was pretty okay too, but of course, they, you know, a lot of abuse, a lot of YouTube. The YouTube community ruined all of this. Elson, again, I don't think he needed a nerf. I think he was perfectly fine, and I talk about Elson a lot. He's a great character. But he's not the Messiah. Like he's really good. I think that they introduced Bast as a buff stripper. Now, if they make him too shitty, then he's not even going to be a reliable unit anymore. And we'll go down to what happens if you think that your unit is now not reliable. And same thing with Ricarus. So yeah, and then they also seen after the downgrade of the character Ravi. I remember that there was a downgrade of Ravi. Maybe that was on before release. So, like, they're just saying that they want to make sure that everything is fine. Now, character balance compensations. Now, I come from another game called Shadowverse. Shadowverse has the same system. So, pretty much, I'm just going to sum this up, is that any character that they change now and in the future, they will compensate you for them. And you can unsummon them, which I don't suggest this, by the way. You can unsummon the character. You will get the gold, the EXP, the promotional ingredients, the awakening ingredients, the Molagors, and the catalyst. All of that, you will get that back. And you will unsummon the character, right? If I'm not mistaken, right? Players will be given a certain amount of time. Yeah, you get a certain amount of time to do it. I should have mentioned that as well. I think you unsummon the character. If I'm not... Yeah, because it's called a recall. Will be available for recall. So yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you lose the character, you unsummon them, and you get all the materials back. I just think that that's kind of weird, because in a game like this, and these games last a long time, your character could get nerfed and then get buffed again. And then you already had invested to them. You would have to be in some type of, I guess, like, gameplay block that you would need to immediately lose a character to give all your materials to another character. I think that that's... I understand that some people do want that, especially a person that spends a lot of money. They're definitely going to want to, like, just switch a character because they probably don't care about their characters that much. They don't, like, a lot of people have, like, a lot of personal relationship with their character. Like, oh, this is, like, the best waifu. This character is so cool. This character is so fun. This is my first Nat 5. I'll never give him away. Stuff like that. So, like, but for some people that just want to be optimal, if their character, like, one of these characters get nerfs, I mean, these are all 3 stars, so it's not that bad, but... Look, even they say here, another character, Ravi, Kiris. They're nerfing Kiris. Like, what? Kiris is not even that big of an issue here. And also, Sachet is also. So, it's cool that it's a good system, but I generally recommend against using it. Because, yes, you're going to be able to flip the characters around, but if it causes you to lose the character in the progress, then I do not suggest it. And let me just reread this to make sure that in order to reduce the inconvenience in the plan, we have the first system will be implemented character recall. After the players will be given a certain amount of time in which they can be able to recall characters that were rebalanced. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily say that, like, you recall them. Like, you can. I'm pretty sure you unsummon the character. So yes, and this will be next week, and it will be continuing the eulogy of the saint. We'll also be adding the Archdemon Forces. So you got the side story, the Archdemon Forces, which is the new labyrinth. All these changes coming through. I hope that you guys like the interpretation. This is apparently what they told me was Moonlight, probably light version Chloe. So and the winks, the wink and the wink, awesome. So that's pretty good. And they're also saying here in the next Death Note we will be covering a detailed review of the Guild Wars as well as the improvised side stories and other core content. So this is a game that's letting you know that they're constantly working on it. And this is again why I make the videos. When I make the videos complaining about certain stuff, you guys have to voice your opinion. Whether everyone agrees or disagrees about it, I don't really care. That video that I made has pretty much like a 50-50 like dislike ratio. But I want to voice my opinion, and I think you guys should too, because they listen. And if enough people listen to you, and hey, you might like something, and like some of these changes you might absolutely hate. I haven't seen a bad change so far in this thing. I think everything is positive, except some of the nerfing of the characters. I think that the game is still kind of fresh, and people need to adapt. Like, oh, Deanne and Elson give out a bunch of buffs. Oh, do you have a stripper? And there's a lot of strippers in the game. Not like boom chicka boom chicka boom strippers, but like there's a lot of ways to counter playstyles. But do you want to get it? Like they introduced Kikarat, who is a stripper that has a counter. You know, they introduced Bass, who completely will strip your buffs entirely. You know, off one character. And there's probably you're gonna summon a couple strippers. Basar also was a phenomenal AoE stripper. Then they have you like I don't know if they needed to buff like to really mess with Elson. I really feel bad for people that invested in Elson because a lot of people like that character. I don't necessarily feel like building him because he's everywhere. And same thing with Tierra. I kind of fell apart from her because she's everywhere. But I feel bad for the people that did invest. Yes, you'll get some of your stuff back, but you don't get the time. This is their effort of trying to give you your time back. But it's a little scary because like, damn, this character is too good. They were going to nerf it in a week, so might as well just pick something that's obscure, you know, like that's not really going to get nerfed, that's good, but not too good. You know, what do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you guys next time. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.